Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here, again from Eyes on Cricket. And yes, I did ring my phone company the other day and they did know that I was on this show. It's not a lie. Okay, I've got Chris Vernon here at Vern158. Of course,
Morning.
Hi Chris. And I'm Norm Koch. Now, we're already seeing comments from Amit Srivastav about Rahul Duck, one duck, duck. It was very interesting to hear their batting coach, and I always forget the pronunciation of his name. Let's just have a look.
I'm not sure.
No, he's been particularly vocal about the whole thing, and he's quite adamant that despite the fact that he has had a run of outs, he is still there. He was actually saying he was their leading player. Now that's probably a little bit much when you've got someone like Virat Kohli in the side, but he's one of the leading players. I would give him that, without a doubt. In fact, his name is, of course, Vikram Rathore. Vikram Rathore was adamant on his press conference that came out at some ridiculous hour in the morning, out my time and also their time. So the intention of today's session is a rather closed session. Chris and I are the ones talking about it. We don't think that we needed to bring everybody on for that purpose. We just wanted to talk hardcore about the team selections for both the World Cup
and answer a few questions as well. Sometimes when
and specifically answer questions which people are bringing up, which they want to talk about. So, question for question, team selection upon team selection for the World Cup, and it looks more and more like there's been an experimentation that occurred in this particular series so far. It's somewhat backfired on India and to a lesser extent England. The reality is that, so you can see Chris, you can see Amit Ambakar has got a green colour.
Yeah, Munchie too.
I must just quickly, I'll digress somewhat for our viewers. The membership, a lot of people from America have been telling me, and even Chris mentioned it, that the membership tab is not visible on a mobile phone app. You might want to refresh the app on a regular occasion, but it's actually not showing on the mobile phone app. The membership tab, for some reason, is only showing on the full computer screen. So you need to get like a laptop or perhaps an iPad. The membership tag does not view on an iPhone app. Is that correct, Chris? That's what you found?
Yeah, that's why I saw the other day. I spoke to Munchie about it, and I can see it on my phone, on my computer, but not. I'm just updating YouTube now, so I'll let you know if it comes up. But it wasn't seen on the other day on YouTube on their phone app.
So for the people that have been contacting me concerned, they've been doing screenshots of their phone and whatever, they're showing me that there's no evidence of a join button nor a membership tab on the top line of the YouTube app. Well, it looks as though for some reason, and it's actually quite new, Chris, by the way. It's new to YouTube. It's not just new to me, it's new to YouTube. They're obviously sorting that out, and for some reason it's not showing on the iPhone. Nor does the community channel. The community channel also doesn't show on an iPad. On an iPad, the community channel doesn't show as well, only shows on the iPhone. So there's some quirks. So if you're not getting it on one platform, you might try the laptop and or iPad, not just your phone or vice versa. Have a good look. So that's what we're doing. Amit, Anuj, Sandip, Devaraj, Max. I've got Vivek, I can see. Banstead boy, who's a friend of yours, isn't he? Chris, is that your dad?
Yeah. I'm a bit disappointed that he hasn't dipped his hand in his pocket and signed up for silver membership yet, but I'm sure he will do at some point.
That's right. So the main thrust again is team selection. Now, I want to get that aired. I want people to be able to air today, once and for all, what they're concerned about. Not that we've got all the answers, but I listened to the press conferences very carefully, and the batting coach, Vikram Rathore, has made it very clear about Rahul. Despite his handful of ducks, he's seen as either the number 2 or 3 batter in the country, and he thinks even world. So he's not going anywhere. So unless Rahul continues to get ducks for the next 10, 20 innings, he's going to be a mainstay given the opportunity. I think he'll come good in the IPL anyway. So it looks at, and the same goes undoubtedly for Rohit Sharma, I would say. So the whole, at least that kind of clears the air somewhat, that we're dealing with a Rohit Sharma Rahul opening partnership. Darwin's there in the background in case someone gets injured, I guess. Then you've got more than likely Ishan Kishan perhaps is there, but Kohli probably will be there, and I think they're going to go with Iyer as well, with Punt and Pandya all playing a role, and Jadeja if fit. Then the likes of Bumrah, Sharma if fit. Maybe they might throw Washington Sundar and Axar Patel in as well, and Chahal. It looks like with a few players up their sleeve on top of that. I don't think Thakur's necessarily going to be left there. I don't know. He's in the mix, but maybe not there. So, all right, that's just a general comment. But okay, without Sky, India's chances are slim. Now, that's a hard thing to say because Sky has only played one match and didn't get a chance to bat. So we can't really judge his significance in this team. What's your thoughts, Chris? What have you seen of Sky?
I've seen him in the IPL, and he's a very fine player without a doubt. But yeah, you can't say that India won't win the tournament because of a bloke that's never played before.
Exactly.
I don't think Iyer will play in the World Cup. I think they'll go for the six bowling options, and then have a couple more all rounders. So I think they'll probably look to drop Iyer, bat Hardik at 6, and then have Jadeja, Sundar at 7 and 8, and then have 9, 10, 11 as the other 3 bowlers, and then have 6 bowling options. I think that the India side yesterday doesn't look particularly well balanced. It looks batting heavy, and it looks like they're a bowler light. And they've got 5 bowlers, and that's it. I think compared to England, who have got 6 quality bowling options, I think the side just looks better balanced. And Hardik is good enough to bat 6, and if you've got Jadeja at 7, Sundar at 8. You've got plenty enough batting there. You don't need another frontline batter, and I think they'll be better off having the balance with the bowling.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, bowling lineups will certainly have the potential to change, but the batting lineup would generally stay somewhat static, and that's typical of any side.
But Iyer will play. Iyer might play. If Iyer plays, it means Ishan Kishan won't. I think that it'll be Rahul and Rohit. Kohli has to bat 3. I think it's ridiculous he's batting at 4. Then it'll be Kishan or Iyer at 4, and then it'll be Pant 5, Hardik at 6, and then I'm fairly similar to Music Harmony. I'm just looking what he's put in. I think that they'll go Chalal. I think that they'll like having the. I think they like having the leg spinner in there, and England have got a leg spinner. A lot of the best sides have that wrist spinner that is just a bit of an X factor. So I think they might take Boothie out and play Chalal instead. I don't think you need 4 seamers and 2 spinners. I think if you have 3 of each, I know England have gone in with that, but I think that they might want to go in with Chalal. So it'll be interesting to see.
And we are talking about India here, aren't we? We're not talking about anyone else. So it's going to have to be horses for courses.
James Dean in the house, silver membership. Good afternoon, James. Thank you for where are you listening or watching from, James? I've not seen him before.
James Dean, hey guys, love you, the duo. That's nice of you, James. Let's be honest. There's some, again, India needs to strengthen the bowling. I think it was Vivek said that as well. I'm a little bit confused with their bowling, a little bit. I don't know exactly what they're doing with the bowling. I know, look, once they get Bumrah back in and probably Shami, it'll firm up quite a bit. They'll have a lot more potency, won't they? And they'll have that option, not unlike what England have with Wood and Jofra Archer. It makes them very compatible or comparable, really. Wood, there's made some comments there saying he's not as good as they're making him out to be. Well, I'm afraid he is. He's just
quick. He's just, and the reason I still think England. I know Bumrah is a huge bowler, but he's not express pace. He's quick. Don't get me wrong, and Shami's the same. But England
So
still have that.
did you say Boomer's quick but not express? Did you say?
I mean, he's not 94, 90, 93, 94 mile now. I mean, he's 88, 89, isn't he? So he's sharp, but he's probably still not a Mark Wood. You know, Boomer's at his best pitching the ball up, you know, Yorkers, that sort of hit the stumps, whereas Wood's sort of tactic is back of a length. You know, look what he did to Kishan yesterday. You know, first two balls, he sort of hit him on the splice of the bat and sort of really tried to rattle him. So, no, they're different bowlers is what I'm saying. And England's tactic will be 90 mile an hour, hit the splice of the bat, try and, you know, use the short ball where Bumrah tends to pitch it up a bit more and has the brilliant Yorkers and sort of death bowling experience, doesn't he?
But
maybe try swing.
His Yorkers are definitely faster though.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're different types of bowler, aren't they? Wood is a quick hit the bat, hit the short ball tactic. Back of a length, whereas Bumrah tends to be a bit fuller, try and find a bit of swing. Both quality in their own right, but difficult to compare.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But see, where do you see Shardul Thakur in this whole process? Do you think he's a player?
He's a squad player. I don't see him playing in the World Cup. At the moment, with the side that like Music Harmony is picking, they're leaving Shami out, and I don't think they'll want to leave Shami out. I think they'll probably go him over Boovi, in my opinion. They need six bowlers. I think the side that wins that tournament will be the side that balances out the bowling properly with batters. And like, look at yesterday, Hardik came in really late. He likes to have a little bit of a look at it sometimes. And I came in with 7 or 8 overs to go. That's the perfect time for a Pandit to come in. He can have a couple of overs to get in and then have 5 overs where he can hit it. Whereas I don't think you need 6 frontline batters, then Hardik at 7. I think it's just wasted. I think you're better off having that 6th bowler to balance out the side a little bit.
I mean, if there's an element of improvement with Hardik as he bowls more and more, having had a long time where he didn't bowl, he may steadily get some of his pace back as well.
I mean, he bowled quite quickly yesterday. All I'm saying is I don't think you want to rely on him as a 5th choice, as your 5th bowler. I don't think you want him having to bowl 4 overs. Hence why you want a 6th option. Look at Stokes and Curran yesterday for England, both bowled 2 overs each. Some games they'll bowl 4 overs and Rashid might not bowl the full quota. It just gives you that extra option, doesn't it? It just gives you the option and a mix up. Whereas I think that with only 5 there, it adds a lot of pressure onto his shoulders and Shalal's shoulders and Shardul's shoulders that they have to bowl it no matter what. Because sometimes players have bad days. Sometimes they don't bowl at their best. Sometimes batters do get after them. So it takes the pressure off the captain and off the fielding side if you've got just another option in your side.
Yeah. Again, I've replayed the Vikram Rathore conference a few times because he's fairly open. I think he's not hiding too much. You can argue he's defending Rahul, but he's also talking about other players in the mix as well. I think they really do think a lot of Ishan Kishan. I think they're trying to find a spot for him. I really do.
Yeah.
Look, we're covering the IPL. You and I and a number of others. We're going to be covering the IPL, and with Debash when he's available, and we're going to be dissecting some of these players with a World Cup mentality in mind. And look, how lucky are they really? They've got an entire 2 months of further T20 cricket, day in, day out almost, up until late May. It's quite a bonus, isn't it? They're going to really, it all goes well for India to improve more and more throughout that period. And the England players that are there as well.
Mm-hmm.
James Dean wants to be shouted out. I'm not sure.
We said hello, James.
We've talked about you already, James.
Where are you from, James?
Yeah, tell us where you're from. And don't say Hollywood, because we know that wouldn't be the same James then.
James Dean, welcome to the show. I haven't seen you before, but thanks for signing up. But yeah, let us know where you're from. It's always good to see you in the chat, and thanks. I assume is that a tip normally? Is that a contribution, or I don't know how it works?
I don't think that $5 amount is anything. That's his writing.
Okay.
It's not. It's just the thing next to his name which is relevant. hang on, the Chris fan club has also become a member.
Hello. The Chris fan club joined yesterday.
I didn't think Adam put money out like that. That's interesting.
It's not Adam Hollywood.
All right. Rowett's a big knock from Rowett. Look, how big a player, a big time player is Rowett for you? I know he hasn't been in absolutely amazing form, but is he someone that can pull out a big innings when it counts in the World Cup?
Yes, I think he is. I think that, and I'll be brutally honest, I think he's quality, but I think he's overrated in 2020 cricket a little bit. I'm not saying only because everyone says he's, I think KR Rahul has proved himself to be a better opening batter than Rohit Sharma in 2020 cricket, hence why they're persisting with him. That Rohit Sharma is one of the best, and in 50 over cricket, he's probably the best opening batter in the world. He's quality, and he's quality for Indian T20 cricket, but I think that he isn't. I think that Kohli and Rahul are as good, if not better, in the 2020 stuff. So that's just my thoughts on it. I think that if you start looking at stats and comparing it, KR Rahul's are much better than Rohit Sharma's, albeit over a bigger sample, of course. But Rahul's sample is still pretty good, and you can see why they want to stick with him. But let's face it, Rohit's more than capable of putting in a match-winning performance. Of course, he's one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt when you see Rohit Sharma play one-day cricket, he scores 254 as he did that time. Still, it's almost a run of ball for the whole innings for the whole team.
Yeah.
It's more than just over 5, so it's quite remarkable. All right. Before we move from India, though, we'll talk a bit about England, and we'll talk about other countries. I mean, Glenn Maxwell's been given a reprieve in the IPL once again at a higher amount. Geez, he's due to come back and score some runs, I'll tell you. He's had I just don't quite know what to make of Glenn Maxwell these days. I don't know. I mean, he's financially secure as anything. He's got an Indian bride. He's doing life's pretty good for him on that side. But what does he? Surely he wants to achieve more than he has from an Australian perspective and have won or played a significant hand in wins because he's capable of it.
Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to say that music harmony and I didn't say Rohit was overrated. I said that I think that he is quality, but I think that
you did actually. Sorry, you did say the word overrated.
Okay, I don't mean overrated on a class front. I think that Rahul was as good as him in the 2020, but Rohit's going to be one of the Indian greats. So yeah, I don't mean he's overrated, that he's not good. I mean that I don't think he is. I think that Rahul's as good, so the opening bat, it has to be those two. But Glenn Maxwell, yeah, I mean the guy's got a lot of talent, hasn't he? He just never seems to quite do it as consistently as he would want. And he's a player that is great in an IPL side and for Australia because he bowls. He can bowl a little bit as well, which is what they want. So, yeah, I mean I like Glenn Maxwell, the big show as he's called, but I think that he'll have a good IPL this year, and I think that he'll, he's got a new franchise. He's got a bit of a fresh change. He's been at the Kings 11 for a few years, hadn't he, before he changed over to the RCB, I think he's at now. So, yeah, it'd just be good to see him freshen up. He's a match winner, and that's what they needed, RCB, and that's what Australia need. They need someone that can win a game.
Yeah. I don't know. Is Aaron Finch has got a sign?
I don't think he did. I think he got dropped. I think he was at RCB last year and he didn't play in the second half of the tournament. And then I think that he's been left out. I don't think he got picked up this year.
So, and there's a comment there about look at it, 99-cent super sticker. I think there is such a thing as a super sticker. I'm not really aware of that, but James, you need to tell us more about what you're doing there because it's something that I haven't seen before. Garrett Banker is saying that James Dean is Australian. That's not
Okay.
right. James Dean is actually, the true James Dean is American.
He was an actor, wasn't he?
Exactly. Rebel Without a Cause, I think his movie was. He was with Rock Hudson in one movie, then died extremely young. Typical fairy tale. So, as far as in terms of the Indian side, okay, I'm just, I don't know. Something's telling me that they're not quite there yet to win this World Cup at home.
I think with a full strength side, they'll be right in the mix for sure. You add two very fine bowlers in Jadeja and Bumrah back in. That's probably where their weakness is at the moment. If everyone's on form, Rohit, Rahul, Kohli 3, Kishan, Iyer at 4, Pant, Hardik, Jadeja, Sundar. You've got a proper side there. So I don't think they'll be too worried. I think they see this as a building blocks to give some guys a run out while Bumrah's not about because of weddings and being rested. So India will be fully ready to win a World Cup, and they'll be. I think that they'll be close to favourites. I think England will probably just go in as slight favourites. But India will be second favourites and will be most people's choice to win at home. So
yeah, but it's going to be. I think there's a lot of twists and turns to go with other sides. We don't know how good the West Indies will be on the day, who they're going to perform with. I mean, they're bound to be putting in. Pollard seems to be certain to be captain. The way that's heading, they're using him pretty consistently. Pollard
for the West Indies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just everyone's second favourite side, really. The West Indies, aren't they? It's just great. They won't win it. They're not good enough to win it. Gale can win a game. Dwayne Bravo's probably slightly past it. They're just a few of them are just over the hill, I think. And it would be great if England can't win it. Then I would love to see the West Indies win it, but I just can't see that they're consistently going to be good enough over a tournament to beat all the big dogs. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's March 17th today, which is St. Patrick's Day here. Well, the Irish are going crazy in Sydney at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got no COVID restrictions. We've actually relaxed COVID even another level. We're actually able to stand openly in bars and nightclubs and restaurants now, not just sit down. We can stand around and mingle. There's probably no stage left really, except for not wearing a mask on trains and buses. Otherwise, everything else is totally the way it's been. Traffic's through the roof. It's quite spectacular in terms of how. Okay, so Barnes said your dad's telling me I'm talking rubbish. I think you just got to think about good old Aaron Finch here. The reality is Aaron Finch. We'll just wait and see. Let's just hold back and I'll wait and see with that one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with him. I don't agree with him that much, especially over fantasy football. He's a pretty lucky, got a pretty crappy side. But if Finch is captain, it's a massive bonus for England because he'd massively be a weak link with the bat. So it's and that's all we say. If he is captain because the Aussies take a massive punt or a stab in the dark, then fair enough. But he weakens that Australian side a lot in a batting lineup that is already shaky at best. Smith and Labuschagne have been sort of the pillars of stability, but they've both shown a little bit of inconsistent form of late. I know Smith was back in the runs at Sydney, I think, but Finch isn't strengthening the batting lineup in any way, shape, or form. Could they bring Khawaja in as captain? He's played quite a bit of Test cricket. It does well in Australia.
I mean, look, he would be certainly a selection choice, but to be honest with you, he's rubbed Justin Langer the wrong way a little bit, and vice versa. And
yeah,
Australia has not had a non-Australian other than a South African influence on the captaincy of Australia. If you go back to there's no other ethnicity in that group, and I'm not saying that's the reason, but no, Khawaja's got to get back on the side first before he's picked for Australia as a captain. And I don't think he captains he doesn't captain at other levels, and I think first and foremost, he was in the side. That would be a great, good thing. Look, they've got some. Look, they really haven't got a true captaincy in the captain in the waiting, have they?
No.
And that's the. It's quite sad, and like their World Cup chances, T20 chances, they'd be lucky to beat half the sides the way they're going. Okay, do you want to turn your mind to England for a moment? Although
Yeah.
I did want to talk more about India, but okay, let's talk about England. Even for tomorrow night's side, well, we're going to talk more about it tomorrow. Well, you may not be there, but in the early session, but you might be there for the after session. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'll definitely be back for one of them. I've got a client meeting at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So I don't think I can't miss that. So yeah, I don't think I'll be back in the morning.
That's it. I'm hoping to have. I had a chat to both Nipuni Hunsaker and Van Dor. They had a work commitment which they couldn't break, which I have to respect. But they're going to be there on Friday. What's today? Today's Wednesday.
Yes.
So Friday will be an in-between day effectively before the fifth match, won't it? The fifth match is on Saturday.
Okay. I think they're every other day, aren't they? So I don't. Yeah, it'll be Thursday and then Saturday would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, if that's the way it is. All right. England. Look again. Josh Butler's interview that he had in the press conference. Very, very comfortable with his 80-odd. He really did show me something about his batting that we haven't seen in a fair while. Would you agree? That's one of his best things. Apparently, it's his best things at the T20 level.
Yeah, he's there's still talk about where his best batting slot is, whether it is in the middle order or whether it is at the top, and I think he's proving slowly this year that he's an opening bat. He'll open the batting for the Royals in the IPL, I'm sure, and he's one of those X factor players that can win a game freely. So I think that him and Roy need to be given as much chance as they can to open the batting, and rightly so. Yeah, he's quality. The England side at the moment is their best side. They've come. This is the side that will play in the World Cup. Maybe they play Moeen Ali for Sam Curran, or they might mix a bowler around, but this is pretty much going to be what the side will be, I imagine. They might make a call on Alex Hales, I don't know, but assuming he's not in, then this is England's side. Can this England side challenge India's best side if they've got Bumrah and Shami back? Absolutely. Without a doubt, this England side can beat anyone and is number one for a reason. But yeah, we're showing. Owen Morgan's just showing what a good side they are, and I'd like to see them maybe win a game batting first, but it seems tough at this stadium. But I think that the good thing from this series from England is that India know they're here to play, and that they're not going to be, if they want to win that World Cup at home, then they're going to have to get past a pretty well-oiled, pretty well-drilled England side.
Yep, I think that's a fair point. I just wonder about again, we are taking for granted the fact that they'll be all fit and ready to play. England are going to be playing quite a few series in England, aren't they? They've got the Test series. I know it's not T20, but they've got a Test series against New Zealand and again against India. Are they playing ODIs and T20s as well in that series?
I think so.
Okay, so there's going to be a bit of exposure there again to be really honest with you, unless something dramatic happens and everything goes to plan, I'm expecting India to play England in the final of the World Cup.
Yeah, I don't know how the draw is or how it works. So yeah, I mean, there's massive factors where they might get each other in the semi, or I don't know how the draws work. So or what the format is, but yeah, it on form and sides, you would say that they're the best two, but it's a knockout tournament. Anyone can turn up have a good week and win a match. So it's that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of a knockout tournament. It's often who peaks at the right time. Whether it's a football World Cup or it's a rugby World Cup, India or England could just really hit bad form at the wrong time, and then all of a sudden they crash out. But that's how it goes.
Oh, it's particularly interesting, and I'm getting a bit of a a handle on how. I'm just looking here at there's all these statistical pieces of information which we see that come up, and it just time and time again talks about the fact that the home country is the likely winner of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The only exception was, say, the West Indies when they won that. This is T20 now, but they won that rather out of the blue. I think it was how many years ago? It was a handful of years ago that they won. Pakistan also came out of nowhere when they got involved. And
I think T20 is a lot different. I don't know who. World Cup 50 over stuff, it tends to favour the home side, but 2020 is a lot different, isn't it? I don't think that many have been won at home. So England won in the West Indies won in India. So it just 2020 cricket is such a high variance game and that it just depends which side walks up and is in form on any given day. So it'll be a great tournament, and it'll be interesting to see who hits the ground running.
Yeah, there's a. I just wish it was a bit earlier on. I think the timing of it's a bit off, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Within Indian conditions being monsoonal, the grounds won't be at their best. There might be a lot of games which will be washed out or be, somehow thwarted. The Duckworth-Lewis system operates in the World Cup under T20 circumstances, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, not Duckworth-Lewis, but they tend to. There is Duckworth-Lewis, but they tend to try and keep it to 5 over games or 10 over games, don't they? So, the dew will play quite a big factor. Dinesh Karthik was on the other day saying that the dew will be quite a big factor for sides batting second. So, it seems a weird time of the year to rearrange it from Australia to England to India, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But they definitely will be keen. The BCCI will definitely be keen to not have games dictated on the toss, because I don't think they'll want to have a World Cup final at Ahmedabad, for example, in front of a full house where the side wins the toss, wins the game. I think that's something they'll want to try and avoid. So they've got a bit of thinking to do, India, and just see. The IPL will give them a good idea about how there's going to be more games played there. So will give us a better idea about how heavily weighted those games are to batting second.
Yeah. Music Harmony saying that Devastas always speaks as if India are a terrible side. No, he doesn't. He talks very highly of the side. Devastas doesn't do it. I mean, he's the first one to. He wants them to do better than they've done in some games. There's no doubt about that, which is a fair cop. So, okay, the discussion we can talk a bit about the fourth T20.
Yeah.
And the toss is extremely vital. And you would argue if and when India win that toss, we're going to have an incredible fifth match. It'd be nice.
Sorry. No, it's of course. It's just a great series of two good sides, isn't it? So, it's just a shame that if the toss is so dependent, that it can affect. Maybe they should have looked at some day games, and the IPL. Often, I like watching the day games. The floodlight games are good, but the problem is, I think that from what I gather, the wicket. And I know we talked about it a lot in the Test series, but it looks quite a difficult wicket to score on. I don't think it's a great wicket at the moment. And because of that, I think the dew and batting second just zips up the pitch and puts a little bit more pace into it. You could see Kohli yesterday signalling to everyone that the wicket was up and down a bit too paced, and every side batting first so far has shown that. So,
but isn't it a matter of adjustment? If the pitch is of a certain type, a good batter can adjust to those conditions and perhaps play later or earlier, depending on the circumstance.
It's because it's to score runs consistently. If it's too paced or if it's slow at that pace, it's just really hard to get any kind of rhythm going, isn't it? And Kohli's knock was really good yesterday, but he did it at the back end of the innings when the pitch was probably getting a little bit better, and then when England went out to bat, it was the same. So,
well, we've seen Kohli bat in a manner where he adjusts to the pitch, the pace of the ground after, in other words, takes a bit of time and then adjusts and then bats accordingly. That's where I think Iyer was pretty good. I think he handled the conditions particularly well. And I think we're perhaps selling a little bit short to say he's not someone who he would have in the side. He's got a lot of stability about him. And I think, I can't remember who said that, but you've got to have a stable batsman in that lineup, like Iyer. But I actually think that the little hidden thing for England is Root. Is there absolutely no hope that Root will play in the World Cup final?
No, I don't think there's no hope. But who does he replace?
Well, he should be in the squad to deputise for someone that may or may not be available due to injury or even, heaven forbid, Morgan twists his ankle and can't captain.
Yeah, but they'd go to Butler. Butler would be captain if Morgan couldn't play. But yeah, in that side at the moment, England side, who does Root play instead of? Who would you drop if you want Root to play?
So if you had Butler in the side and you had Root in the side, and Morgan fell down injured, you're saying you go to Butler?
In one day cricket, yeah, they would. I'm fairly sure.
The T20 cricket you're talking about, not one day cricket.
Yeah, it would be Butler.
So Root doesn't factor into the ODI side?
Yeah, he will be in the. I think he would. I'm not sure if he's in the squad. I think they're seeing it as a bit of a rest and rotation for him. But he definitely will be in the mix. He played in the World Cup side that won.
So he doesn't captain the ODI side at all?
No, Morgan is the white ball captain.
Okay. So if Root's in the side, he doesn't captain if Morgan's in the side in the ODI format. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. But if that's possible, then it should happen. But they shouldn't. What I'm getting at, they shouldn't just leave Root out because he's not the captain. If that makes any sense.
No, they're picking their best side. They're picking their best side. They're picking their best 2020 side They're picking their best 2020 side, and they don't see that Root is in that squad at the moment.
Has he done something wrong?
No, but they've just got players that they feel are better suited. I mean, who would you leave out to pick Root at the moment? What's
Joe Root's batting average in ODIs and T20s?
I think he averages nearly 50. I don't know what they'll do with the ODI. I think he'll probably play in the ODI stuff. But T20, as you said, who would you from this England side that played yesterday in the first two, that top six? If you want to play Joe, fine, but who do you drop?
Okay, take a step back. His batting average is 50, you're saying, in the ODI format.
Yeah.
How could you not have a person in a side?
I think he'll probably play in the ODI. I think he'll probably play in the one day format. I'm saying that if you want to play him in the T20, who do you not have?
I don't know whether that's what I have to think about. I have to think that he should be in the side, and whatever falls out, falls out. Now, Bairstow?
Well, he's consistently been very good, hasn't he, Bairstow? So it's difficult. It's I don't think that Root gets in my 2020 side. I don't know what they'll do in the one day side. I think that he probably is in the mix somewhere. So
I'm very tempted of going on the next English press conference if Root's on and asking him this question. What are your thoughts about your ability to play T20, and should you be in there or should you not be?
He's made it very clear that he wants to get back in the side. So, but that's the beauty of competition for places, isn't it? That's why they're number one in the world. They're leaving guys out that would walk into lots of sides. So, yeah.
So when did Root not? So he's obviously been in the Test side for a while. He's been in the ODI team for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What was his history with the T20 side?
He's definitely played. He's definitely done okay in the T20 stuff when he's played. I think that they just, I'm not sure whether if he's using the T20 stuff and the one day stuff in this series as his rotation, as his rest period. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a World Cup here. I'm not talking about a normal series where they've got all three formats there and he can opt out of them because he's been playing Test cricket. I'm talking about the World Cup, where there is no Test cricket, there
Yeah.
is no ODI, it's going to be a T20 tournament. Is it correct in saying that he should be in the squad? And if not, why do you need
Definitely one day squad. 2020. I get it, because then you've got, other Liam Livingstone, for example, says not playing. Sam Billings. I think that he could easily be in the squad. I just think that they see other players as good, if not better, options in that format. I'm fairly sure he'll be in the one day squad. If he's not for this series in India, then I'm sure he'll be back in it come the summer in England without a doubt. So.
Okay. I'm forgetting the overwhelming amount of cricket that he must be playing or will be playing. He's in the IPL, is he not? No. Okay. So he's not in the IPL. There's no ODI cricket other than again in England, where they're playing the matches against New Zealand and England. So he's not going to have much exposure if he doesn't get a go. I don't know. I think that they need to consider him if he wants to get into the side. If he's genuinely wanting to get in the side, they have to give him some due consideration, and more than just a fringe player. He needs to be given a fairly reasonable role. And whether it's to captain, I mean, you're saying he won't be captain; it'll be Owen Morgan. How old is Owen Morgan, by the way?
Oh, he must be mid-30s now.
Okay, all right. So he's also got days that are numbered.
Potentially, he's probably got a couple more years, but Butler will. I'm pretty sure that Butler will take over the reins as and when he goes. So, yeah, they've there'll be a lot of cricket this summer in England. Root will play the 100. He'll play in the domestic 2020 stuff. So he's got a chance to stake a claim for himself, and it'll just be interesting to see where they go with it. So it's an embarrassing. That's the reason why England are number one in the world at the moment, is because they've got such great depth, same as India, with the batting and the bowling. So it's not a bad problem to have, is it? I don't think England are particularly worried the fact that they can't pick Joe Root. It's a pretty nice problem
to have. Yeah. I would just like to see Root back in the side. I think he deserves it. If he's openly expressing, I want to make myself available to play, yeah, he should be in there. All right, let's have a look at some more questions. Stokes and Milan are already a weak link. Why add another form in the form of Root? Why is Milan a weak link, and why is Stokes a weak link?
I don't think either are weak links. David Milan's the best 2020 player in the world currently on rankings. He's above Kohli. I don't know if that will change after the last couple of knocks, but David Milan's a very fine player. Slightly different, he's not a whacker. He's not a baseball style hitter like some of them. He's more of a technical player. But Stokes isn't a weakness. He's been a bit out of form in the series in India, but he'll win games of cricket, and he bats and bowls and he fields. He's the perfect sort of person in that. He's almost first name on the team sheet, Ben Stokes for England. There's no weak link there as far as England is concerned.
So you don't think the way that Root's been bowling, maybe he'll be some use in India if he were to play that shorter format as well?
Possibly, yeah. That he played in the last World 2020 because he got Gale out in the first over, didn't he? I remember he got 2 wickets in the first over. So I don't know if he'll get picked. There's every chance that they might have a look at him, but they've got Mo and Ali's not even playing at the moment. If they're going to pick two spinners, Mo and Ali with his batting as well is going to come in, isn't he? So,
well, I'm surprised. Do you think they might give him a Guernsey, Mo and Ali, in the next match?
Possibly. It depends if they win the next match. I think if they win the next match, they might give Billings a go, maybe Livingstone. Just give these guys.
Well, that's because they won by that stage. That's a given.
I don't know. They clearly see that on these wickets, a good way to go is the pace on the ball, hit the deck. It's a slow wicket, hard to score, and I think they see it as their quick bowlers hit the wicket and sort of let the wicket do the talking is a good way of being effective. So it's clear what England's tactic will be, and yeah, Mo and Ali will definitely be in the squad and will most likely play a part. But England's bowling's been pretty good so far.
Gareth Banker says that Stokes' record in T20 internationals is poor, which you can't leave him out, I'm afraid. I do understand he needs to be in there, but he needs to maybe be a little bit more. He can produce a winning match, can't he? He's proven that in Test cricket. He's proven that in other formats. But he needs to perhaps stand up a bit more, maybe, and take the game to the scruff of its neck when there are 5 overs to go.
Yeah. The problem is in 2020 cricket, you just need match winners. You don't need guys that score hundreds. You need guys that can score 30 or 15 balls a lot of the time. And, he bowls. He's a frontline bowling option, and he's bowled well. So, like, he would get into India's side. Like, I believe that 100%. If Ben Stokes changed to Indian national, like, he would play in their international side.
Hang on, he's gone from being South African to Indian.
What I'm saying is he walks into pretty much every side at this point. He bats, bowls, and fields, and I think that he probably is batting too low at 6. But England have got such a stable, solid top order. The only other option is you could open with him and bat Butler at 5 or 6. Owen Morgan hasn't batted in 2 games yet. So it's England have got such a good depth.
You would think when they were 1 down, they were heading headlong into that winning those games, that they would have experimented with putting someone else in that batting order. But they're not getting. They're all players are not getting enough cricket, to be honest with you, and hence, I mean, they are in terms of the Test series. That certainly has meant that Rowett has had to rest, but the general grouping of players aren't overplaying cricket at the moment, I don't think. Even though there's a bit of a tighter schedule, they're not overplaying. Except for perhaps the Anderson Broad factor, that I can get that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's just interesting, people talking about strike rates. People defending Virat Kohli, Darren Malan's strike rate. He's got a better strike rate in T20 internationals than Virat Kohli has. He's got a better strike rate than Rohit Sharma has. So this theory that Darren Malan isn't is a blocker or doesn't hit it is a bit false. Darren Malan's strike rate in T20 internationals is 100.
He's a very elegant.
No, but people are saying that in the comments, we saw that he's defending his strike rate. Well, Virat Kohli's strike rate in T20 internationals is 130. Rohit Sharma's is 138, pretty good. Darren Malan's is 145, so over nearly 25 games. So, his strike rate isn't a problem at all. He just he likes to have a look early on. They said Darren Malan's strike rate from 1 to 10 runs is 108. From 11 to 20 is 130 something. But then over 20 runs, his strike rate is nearly 200. So he just has to get in. A lot of these players are the same. So, and people saying that Malan has done nothing in India. He's played 3 games. That's fine, music harmony. His strike rate might be 139, but it's not as good as Malan's is still better. So all I'm saying is that these batsmen just need to get in. Look at Kohli yesterday. His first 30 runs were off 32 balls, but then got 50 off 17 balls. So
if a person's strike rate is even 110 or thereabouts, but he scores, he's the backbone of the team innings where people perform around him, I think it's worth more than the strike rate in those cases.
And music harmony, the stats I looked at them quickly for Virat Kohli. That's his strike rate in the IPL. So I got it slightly wrong, but he does average 130 in the IPL strike rate. A number 3 role is quite a key place in the T20. You can almost have someone there that can construct an innings and looks to bat through. So, Malan will see in the IPL just how good he is. It's different wickets than what he's been used to, but he still is the number 1 rated batter in the world, and he's been very consistent for England, and he's not going anywhere. He'll be playing. So,
okay, can I quickly ask the 11 from England that you would pick? Tell me, we'll go through them and say yes or no to IPL for this year. Now,
for England, I'm not. Roy hasn't. Butler obviously has. Malan has. Bairstow has. Morgan obviously has. Stokes has. Sam Curran has. Archer has. Mark Wood pulled out. Jordan has, I think. Tom Curran. I think he opted out as well. So, and Adil Rashid obviously
That's
hasn't.
8 or
So
9. You've just mentioned 8 or 9 of the
plus
players.
Billings has. I'm looking at the squad members.
But a playing 11 that plays in the World Cup, 8 or 9, you're saying are IPL versed. The only ones that are not are Cummins.
So
from Australia. Oh, we're not talking about Australia. We're talking about India. We can figure out because they've all been involved, except for good old what's his name? The first dropper. I'm having a mental blank day here.
Philippe,
No, of India. Now I'm talking about.
Oh, Kishan.
Sorry.
Ishan Kishan.
No, I'm talking about. Oh God, who's the one that's gone to the county champions? I've got his name. It's gone
Pujara.
Pujara.
Yeah, I think that whichever franchise has picked him in the IPL is probably doing it as a loyalty thing, as a help your friend out. He's not an IPL player, is he? Let's be totally honest. It's Pujara, Music Harmony, and I wasn't comparing Milan to Kohli. All my point was that you don't have to be striking at 200 to be effective in 22 cricket. Kohli's the best ever, and is nowhere in his streets ahead of Milan. But there's some interesting guys. And England have got, as I said, 8 or 9 in their starting lineup. Billings will play, Livingston will play, Moeen are playing in the IPL. There's some good players there that are going to have some good experience and are going to be ready to when called on in the World Cup. So
I'd like to see Livingston. If England happen to win the 4th match, therefore it's 3-1 going into the last, I'd like to see Livingston, the whole mob that's not on the field, get a Guernsey. It'll be refreshing.
Yeah, they're there's every chance that they might rotate around and have a look, because it's similar to India. They're seeing it as a squad that are ready to play for their country, not just to playing 11. So
yeah. All right. So Devdutt Padikkal.
He's one of my players to watch in the IPL this year. He'll be going straight into my fantasy team without a doubt. I think RCB are playing first. I think they're playing the first game, RCB, so he'll be straight in there.
Okay. So your fantasy team, just tell me a little bit more about that before you go. What do you have? You have a pool of all players?
Yeah, so it usually works that the one that we do with my friends, I think it's the Dream 11. You pick a side, and then you have a certain number of subs for the whole tournament. So I think you get something like 60 subs for the 70 odd games, and you can just chop and change as you want. Obviously, you can do subs between the games. You can pick a captain, a batting captain and a bowling captain, depending what you do, and they score double points. And then they just work out sixes hit, runs scored, wickets taken, and then you just get fantasy points through that. It's you get into it for sure. It's a little bit confusing to start with.
When do we pick that? We pick that prior to the first match, and we can't add or change, or we can add or change.
That you can change. You pick a side, and then you can make subs throughout the tournament before
and
each
you can
game.
Trade as well. You can trade players.
Yeah. So you have the whole people to pick from. They're obviously worth. You get a certain amount. I think you get a million or 100 million to pick from, and then you can just, as long as you're in budget, probably similar to the AFL fantasy leagues that you have out in Australia. I've done a couple of those when I was there. So,
seeing as fantasy, can you fake a cheating effort? Can you hide a player and see if anyone notices? You can't do things like that.
No, it's just called fantasy league because you're picking your own side. Really, it's all done.
Let's make a twist to it. You can do a bit of skullduggery, a bit of cheating, or something that can sort of.
Not that I'm aware of.
Play a player that's not actually under your salary, or go over your salary, or something like that. I'm talking.
No, you can't do anything. It's all pretty good. It's all pretty music harmony. I'll pick my side, and I'll be keen to join your league, Norman. I thought maybe if we do a league here, maybe if we get some people or fans entering, we could offer a membership or a membership for winner. Or I'm happy to pay. I'm happy to put three or five.
The people that are members now, I've got quite a few that I've just seen an update list. Some people have just joined today, as a matter of fact. So I'd like to expand on that, and we'll make as long as the members are happy, we're going to make that public. Well, it's public. What we see on the discussion page, Chris, is reflected on the homepage as well, so people will know who's a member.
Okay.
So we can announce the membership. Membership people can also be part of that's part of their deal. They can be part of fantasy. I think that's a good idea.
Perfect. Yeah, that's yeah. So it'll be good to get a few people going. It's a bit of banter, isn't it? We can we'll get Norman in. Hopefully, Norman finishes bottom because he'll be picking Aaron Finch as captain, and Glenn Maxwell and all the Aussies. So
no. Well, I'm not going to pick Meredith. I tell you.
Your fantasy side has to mirror an IPL team. You can only have 4 overseas at a time. You have to have at least one up and coming player in your side. So it's pretty good. It's good fun.
Can you bring someone left field out of the equation? No.
You can bring whoever you want. You have access to every squad, all the players completely. You can only pick from IPL squads.
Can you actually nut out? Or is there something we can replicate that can nut this out for us?
In what do you mean?
Well, if every player, every person that joins the competition, let's call it, has to submit their squads and their teams to a designated person.
No, so it's done on a website. You pick your side, and then you get a league code, and you join the league.
Okay, but the website. Which website is that?
I think it'll be Dream 11. I'll do some research and see which one the best is, but I think it's Dream Fancy IPL, something like that.
We'll use that as a template. We'll use that as a template. Can we show that on screen? We can take screenshots, I guess, of people as they move around.
Yeah, there'll be an updated league, and you can probably just put it in the community and say this is the top 5 or this is who. Yeah, it's easy to do stuff like that.
I'll use the community page to do it. Good idea. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kane Williamson has rejoined us. Now, he's been away for a while. He was naughty with some of the things he did before. You're back. Well, that's good to see you behaving, Kane Williamson.
Let's hope he behaves himself.
Yeah. So, Music Harmony says, I make my teams in Dream 11 IPL. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one we did. I've done a few different ones over the years, Music Harmony, but I think that one you have a batting and a bowling captain or power player, don't you? I think they call it that.
All right, Chris, it's your job if you don't mind, just setting that up.
Yeah, we'll
go through. I'll give you the list of the people that I know are the members, and we can then build from there. Is there an upper limit how many people we can put in?
I don't think so. I think you can have as many people as you want in the league. But maybe we'll just share the code in the chat if we do it, and anyone can join. Or if you if you have to be a member, I don't know how you want to do it, Norman, but we'll sort something out. We'll have a think.
All those are the members will be in there. They'll be first up. They'll be in there, and those beyond that will add in. Okay. Ab 18 has come out with a comment. We need a 6-bowl option. He's reverted back to the current T20 series. Yeah, I agree.
It's I've said that yesterday. I said that at the start throughout the series that India's side looks better balanced if they bring in a six bowling option, and England's side in this series just looks better balanced with the options of Curran and Stokes as 6 bowlers. And I think that's the way they'll go. I think at the moment they know that what their bowling attack will be, and I think that they don't necessarily know what their batting lineup's going to be. So they're playing around with the extra batter just to see who steps up, and they're seeing what sort of formula they can come up with.
Okay, so we've got the Fantasy League. We've also got the 11 for the World Cup, which is separate. There's a comment, I think, by Music Harmony. He likes to have Natarajan in the bowling attack. I get
it.
Because he's
left-hander, specialist, left armour. Same way as why Curran is popular with England, because he's something a bit different, isn't he? Left armers are premiums, and they always go well. Is Natarajan? Is he Sunrisers Hyderabad? I think he's a Hyderabad.
I think he is. So, is Natarajan the best left-arm bowler in the country?
Oh, in India? Yeah, I would have thought so. There's a guy that plays for Rajasthan or for, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but I can't think of many other left armers that India have. So he's obviously at the top of the list. What's the
Chris Fan Club? Hang on. Munchie's just said Chris Fan Club. His dad plays.
Chris Fan Club said, "Is Chris going to come to the India for the World 2020? If Norman pays, I'll go."
Well, you're going close, Chris. You're going close. As long as we put an hour-long video of you on record saying how Australia will beat England in the Ashes convincingly, and how sorry I'm going to feel.
I
I'm
was
happy for
I was
you.
brought up not to lie, Norman, so
No,
I
but if you
couldn't
don't,
say that.
just listen, I haven't finished, Bob. Just let me talk. You're in darkness. If you have an hour-long video of you just by yourself, just talking randomly about how much you love Australia, how you think Australia will smack England's pants, and how England have got no hope to win the series, and your result is something 0 in favour of Australia, if you can do that for me, I'm more than happy.
What, to pay for me to go to India for the World 2020?
Yeah, but if you do a complete hour-long video where you praise the hell out of Australia and say nothing about England having any hope of an Ashes victory in Australia, and your fears and anxieties about certain players,
That was a
about
long
Maxwell
time. Well, that's a big prize. 5-star hotel and a first-class flight. You know, it's
Now, hang on. Where was the? No, I didn't mention anything about first-class flight. We're getting you on we're getting you on cattle class, to say the very least.
that's
In
fine.
fact, you may be having to clean up the leftovers of some of the cattle. No. All right, we're going to get you on a plane. That's what I'm promising. Maybe Yugoslavian Airlines, are they still flying? That's still a bit like
I don't think they've been around for a few years, Yugoslavian Airlines, have they? Might
No.
be wrong.
Well, there's probably a few of their planes sitting in the Mojave Desert still. We might be able to just bring one of the mothballs and put eyes on cricket with something on the back. In fact, I'd be able to say, this is Norman Kochnick from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. And I'd fit on the plane, I reckon. On the side of my quite low. Chris Fan Club says we have room. Do you? Okay. Harish Kiran's joined us and he's saying, hi guys. Hello, Harish. I haven't seen you, I think, before, maybe for a while at least. Harish, you come in on after an hour of talking. You've decided to come in. I don't know what's taken you an hour to join us, but I'm glad you have.
Is he a new member? Is Harish? Say hello, Harish. Where are you from? I think it's important to start with the IPL in mind, that people start letting us know who their teams are, who they're one to watch. Music Harmony, Anuj. You know, I think Music Harmony's RCB, but you know, who's your one to watch? You know, who are your youngsters that are going to come through the ranks? Who's going to be the best overseas? You know, let's have a bit more of a discussion and see what people think.
Exactly. So you might put in your handle where you're from in terms of the country, if you like, don't mind doing that, and who you're supporting, so we can and that might help the whole process. Absolutely. All right, Chris, we might leave it at that.
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to, are there any other questions we need to talk about? No. Sahara has current travel through India and don't use flights. No, that's true. But you mean by train or by vehicle? I'd love to. I think that's the most romantic way to see India. I truly think. I mean, I remember going from around Amritsar. That was just spellbinding, and up through the Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Jalandhar, amazing areas, and even to the Pakistan border. That the Wagyu Trail, I think it's called. That's quite a.
I'm not sure. I've not been. One day.
It's quite a special part. Rajasthan, Jodhpur, Jaipur. Oh my God, the Golden Triangle, which is Delhi, Jaipur, and Agra. Amazing. Done that. Loved it immensely. As is normal. No, we've got our good numbers towards the end there. That's very good. So thank you again, guys. I think we're going to. Hello, India is experimenting too much. So I wake up. I think you're right. Where is India struggling? Where are they struggling? Well, they're probably experimenting a bit too much, I'd argue. That's probably the only issue they've got. Who said they're struggling? Who started Tawati or his?
I think India aren't struggling. I think that they're just. I think if Bumrah and Shami were playing at the moment, you know, you'd say that they're probably near enough their strongest side. They're just trying to find their best batting lineup. You know, they've got the best batters in there. They're just trying to find out what's the right order to put them in. I think, and to be fair, there's no batting that's to come back in, is there? I know that Sky will be in the squad, but he's probably not in their best 11.
No.
So they've got all the players there that they are going to play in the 2020 World Cup. They're just trying to find the best order to put them in.
How far does Rahul have to slide before they consider him a threat to play? If he gets another 6 ducks, or
the thing is, I don't think this series is relevant really, because he'll probably go and score runs in the IPL, and if he does, they'll pick him. So I think for him not to play in the World 2020, he would have to have a disaster of an IPL. But I still think they'll pick him anyway. So.
He was keeping in Australia,
Mhm.
and Punt was not in the team, if I can remember correctly.
He's probably as good a keeper as Pant. Pant's keeping seems to have come on a bit, but you know, in 2020 cricket, you don't have to be a genius keeper. You just have to be okay. I think that Rahul's keeping is probably slightly better than Pant's, and Pant just has the the Guernsey at the moment, doesn't he? For what you would say, but I think Rahul would have to literally have the worst IPL in history not to be open the batting for India. They've made it very clear that he's who they see open the batting, and rightly so. You know, he's been fantastic.
No, okay. Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to get back to the form that we know he can do. That's what I never liked seeing people out of form. I actually saw a video about Greg Chappell and his performances when he had 7 ducks in a row, and they kept him in the side, and then he came back with a vengeance. And
yeah, and as the best players will always come back. So
I think Neil Harvey was involved with that too. I think he was the selector at the time. And Neil's incredibly astute, and I love him to death. He's an amazing man. He's in his 90s now. I might try. This might be a bit of a 7-up. I'd love to get Neil on one day. Maybe I can get him on. I'll have to go to his place. He won't be able to set this up by himself. That's for sure.
We'll sort something out.
All right. So you got to go, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I said half hour, so you've done more to get an hour.
You got an hour and 6 minutes, actually, so you've done very well. All right, guys. It's Norman Kochnick here from Eyes on Cricket. We've got Chris. And look, we've got our Twitter handles. I want some of you guys to start to, if you're not on Twitter, go on Twitter. It's a good platform for you to use. Sayed Afzal has just come on. Afzal is saying colleague is going to replace Chahal. Okay, interesting. The fact is that we've only got a few more games to go before the series is over. So let's keep our head on that. Keep supporting the channel. You've got, of course, both Chris and I with our Twitter handles, Norm at Norm Koch and Chris is at Vern158. Let's see you there for a while. Some of you haven't got Twitter handles, obviously, because we're not seeing evidence of you. So please join us there, and you'll be more, able to ask us questions in between shows if you like, especially in the morning. That's all I wanted to say, guys. So thank you yet again for your time. Thank you, Chris, dearly. We'll have plenty more people on. This is a bit of it's not quite an Aussie and a Pom today. It's more of a reflection on the selection of the team. Reflection on the selection. There we go. That's the name of a show. All right, guys. Perfect. Take care. Thank you very much, sir. All the best.
No worries. Take care.
See you tomorrow for the pre-show and the post-show.
Will do.